the Big Market Debate powered by Investonomics, an initiative by ICICI Direct. Joining me today is Mr. Jay Prakash Gupta, founder Dhan, and Mr. N.S. Fedai, director, Petershire Brokers. Welcome, Jay, and welcome, Mr. Fedai.
Thank you, Vidhu.
Yeah, my first question would be for you. Markets are at record high. What is really driving the markets higher? And the kind of correction and the short corrections, not that sharp that we have seen in the markets. Do you expect the markets to consolidate at these current levels for a long time?
Yeah, Gitu, thanks for inviting me over. See, the primary reason why market is being hitting new highs is one of the primary reasons is that it's being liquidity driven, right? So liquidity is playing a very bigger role. You are getting a cheaper access to money. Second is the kind of corporate earnings which we have seen in Indian markets. Maybe the companies have adapted themselves to a better efficient way where there have been improved margins, and that has led to a better number than expected. So that is also pushing markets higher. So from here on, how the market is looking like, I don't see much of a negativity in the Indian markets as such, or the Indian economy as such. We have been our vaccination rollout has been fantastic. Now if you see that corporate earnings are also likely to improve, and there has been certain kind of stimulus in the economy, lower interest rate, all are providing the tailwind for the market. And we also need to see market from a broader perspective. If you see equity as an asset class, in last 12-13 years it has underperformed. So when you see the markets peak in 2008 and what market is now around 55 odd thousand, if you talk of Sensex, in 12 years if you calculate, the CAGR is close to around 8.5%, right, which is way below the average return which you get from equities market. So even if you factor in that the scenarios have changed, there has been a COVID situation which has come, and the earnings would take some time to recover. Still, I think 12.5% on an average for 15-20 years, that is what the equity market provides. So we are at 8.5%. So there is still scope that the market will definitely go up. And since we have come out of bear market, we are in a bull market now. So it's a very common phenomena that you may see some kind of correction setting in, but that correction should be used to buy certain specific sectors and stocks. The only headwind I see is that may come from the global markets, particularly US. If there is some kind of Fed tapering which happens, or the stimulus rollback, or something on the geopolitical sides, so that will have impact across the globe, and our Indian markets are now more interlinked to what's happened globally, so it may get impacted. But from an Indian perspective, I think every dip, every correction should be used for buying stocks.
Mr. Fedai, what is your view? What do charts of Nifty and Bank Nifty suggest at these levels?
Well, at the moment, Nifty is still in the bullish zone. The stock has been index has been sustaining above, 10 or 9 EMA, which I usually use. So basically, it's in momentum right now, right? But the upside for what we see on a longer term charts, I see possibly we have reached 16,700 on the upside, and maximum upside I would see on the chart is 17,000, 17,200. And downside is probably means we need a correction from because then the stocks cannot move without this kind of with this kind of breadth. There is no space for the stocks to move. And a little correction, as JP also said, is very necessary at the moment because we are in overheated zones, right? So I would say one should take a view of maybe booking out profits where you are looking at good profits, but not in frontline stocks which are IT or FMCG. They are yet to move. They are making their moves right now, right? So that is a good space to get into maybe at the moment in extreme short term. But I would say see, the trend is overall in bullishness right now in Nifty especially. So anything below 16,000 and 15,800 should be something that we need to worry about. So after that, maybe we can see something like, a very deep cut, right? Probably because that opens up like, we'll be closing below 50 DEMA. Now 50 DEMA is supposed to be almost a quarterly support area. So once quarterly supports are broken, then we can expect 200 DEMA to come into play. So, and that is placed right now at 14,600 approximately, or some between 700. So could drop to 14,400 approximately when the price falls and whatever happens. So you can expect markets to go down much deeper, maybe 10 to 15% should be good. See, technically, any fall that is not more than 30% or 25% is supposed to be bullish. Like it is overall a good correction rather, because market needs it, right? Because then it will remove the froth from the system. Right now, we have seen almost 120% gain from the low that we have made, right? So a little correction is overdue. Maybe it should happen. Like, see, technically, all the indicators are negative in the sense from the indicator side, right? Though we are in bullish zone, but they are showing negative divergences. So possibilities that a little correction right now, what has happened is maybe I would say trailer. Maybe when let the movie happen right now, play along till we sustain above maybe 18 DMA. That is placed at right now 16,250, right? So till we are above 16,250, continue to remain bullish on the stocks which are maintaining momentum. Especially as I told you, IT and FMCG space looks very good. So we should continue to remain long on that side. And book profits whenever stocks or the index reaches around 17,200. I would say that would be a good area to book profits. Or if you see any breakdown below 16,200, maybe that would be first indication of maybe something, means more deeper corrections could be possible. And mid-cap banking, like I somehow am not very bullish on financials at the moment, right? Because see, what we see is the corporate growth and in the industry and all that, right? But what we have missed out as a whole, as a country, is our small and medium and micro enterprises, right? Those are actually reeling under lots of problems. They are facing lots of difficulties at the moment. They are unable to come back properly. And and the space of unorganized sector, basically where people need lots of little credits and all that, they are facing lots of issues at the moment. And probably it's a very, very big mismatch at the moment. So there has to be some kind of correction semblance to happen so that things look a little moderate over there. Till that space doesn't actually rise, and till that space is not being protected properly, we may see that the whatever the growth we have seen in consumption, that may get affected very badly.
Jay, as Mr. Fadai suggested that it's the right time to get into IT and FMCG, can we say that the time for defensive stocks is back?
No, I would not say that. No, see, defensives you need to always have in your portfolio as an investor, because there are certain black swan events which you cannot predict any moment. But majority of your investments, has to be on certain sectors like metals. I am very bullish on financials. I completely agree with Mr. Fidai that financials are overstretched at this moment, particularly on the banking side. So that's the sector I think can be avoided in the short run. But again, FMCG is a consumption-led thing, which has done very well during the COVID times, and consumption is a theme which is likely to be there. It's evergreen thing. So on metals, I am very bullish, and there are certain sectors like specialty chemicals which looks good. Even on the new age, businesses which are entering into the arena. So we have started with Zomato, then we have started with Angel Broking. So these companies also look good to me, from a long-term perspective.
Mr. Fadai, what do you like in FMCG space? The top one?
Well, the king of FMCG, you can say, is HUL. So basically, It looks good on the chart also. It's looking very exciting at the moment. It has given a very good kind of momentum, and it is maintaining also. So I believe Hindustan Liver is one stock which you can watch out for. Another is you can go for Nestle, right? Rather, these two should do well. People who invest there, because the risk is limited. And then you have ITC, which doesn't actually move at the moment, but because of various reasons. But I believe the possibility of ITC doing better is much higher once the things cool down a little on other spaces, right? So risk is very low on the ITC, and the upsides are very open on the huge upsides could open up once it crosses 220, 230, right? So basically once that happens, so one can accumulate ITC, but Unilever, one can play the momentum. At the moment, right now, it needs to cross about 2560, which I think once it does, then you can see lifetime highs, and maybe the stock continues to go upwards, right? Maybe make a new high also. So we could see something like 2800 in extreme short term in ITC. So, sorry, HUL, right? So I would bet my money on HUL rather first thing. And the other two, stocks are basically for people who would like to play defensive. Maybe they should add Nestle and ITC.
What is that strategy that you would suggest to such investors in the mid and small cap space?
Gitu, on mid and small, mid cap and small cap, if you talk about, it's you need to do a thorough research before buying that, because what happens when the markets are in euphoria, the current state which we are seeing in, you find that the horses and donkeys that all move, there's no question of nobody looks at valuation, the FOMO factor catches in, and retail investors think that they are just missing out the buzz. So that's a wrong way to get into investing, I would say. See, there are quality names in mid cap and small cap stocks. You need to understand that properly. So as an investor, you need to be a bit informed. Should not go by that. Your neighbor is buying or your friend is buying, and you should start picking that stock. It's very important to understand the sector. And within that sector, you also need to see the financials. There are a lot of factors which need to be watched. But there are tremendous I would say gems which are available in small cap and mid cap. All you have to do is do some kind of study, some kind of research before getting into those.
Talking about Jay, talking about the IPO market, this year has been fantastic till now, and the list seems to be getting bigger day by day. What is your view on the euphoria that we are seeing in the IPO market? And do you support the valuations that are being garnered by all these newcomers?
That's a very tricky question, I would say. See, not all IPOs are worth investing. When you have a scenario like that market is being driven in the short term by the liquidity, you find everybody tries to make the best out of it. But there have been certain IPOs, where the whole intent was just to give an exit to the investor. There have been FPOs, so I think those IPOs should be avoided by retail investors. But there are certain IPOs where, if you take Zomato for example, right, where the companies were loss making, there was no earnings visibility, but still market rewarded it. So the understanding has to go on, what kind of business model you are adapting, whether you are able to leverage technology, and whether this technology leveraging is going to benefit you in the future. So those things are also to be looked at. But I think not everything you pick here, or every company which comes for an IPO is going to give you a return. Again, I would reiterate that it's very important for you as an investor, or as a retail investor, to have your ears on the ground and do some kind of study, some kind of research before jumping into everything which comes on your way.
Mr. Vijay, what is your view on the metal space? Do you like the metal space? And if you
Yeah.
like it, then
Yeah, I am bullish on metal space. Actually, technically they have given a very good move. Some metals stocks are right now correcting right on mid cap and small cap space, but frontline are still maintaining their momentum, and they're still on the very near to their lifetime highs. I would say I prefer in frontline Hindalco, right, and. In the mid cap or you can say small cap space, that is Godavari Power. That looks exciting. The stock is fundamentally also available at very attractive valuations. So the company is doing all like taking off all the right things over there, and the potential to grow is much higher from here. And then you can also look at Maithan Alloys from a small cap space. Both are looking very good. Right now they have corrected, so I believe Godavari has a good space, maybe you can say maybe 100 rupees downside maximum on the which I believe like it is at 1200 something. So should do from here at least 30-40% upside in minimum short term, but long if you can hold it for 4 to 6 quarters, I believe you should be in for a very big windfall basically for both the stocks. And Hindalco remains in momentum. Then I like SAIL in the frontline space. Again, fundamentally very attractively priced, and technically also it has corrected a little. So we should look at it. Right. So both are all these stocks are very good. I would prefer to buy on dips. So my strategy would be to, take the stock and maybe add more once it comes down, right? Because these are already corrected a lot, and maybe a little more correction would be healthy for, your portfolio rather. So if you are smart enough, then you can buy on dips, maybe do pyramiding, that would be a good strategy. Or you can do simple SIP also.
Jay, what is your view on the metal space? We are talking about a super cycle in commodities. So do you buy that?
No, I am bullish on metal as a sector overall. So if you see, there are few reasons for it. So the kind of prices where we are now, if you talk about in Indian context. So last time we had seen these kind of prices was in 2008-9. When if you see USD INR was at that time around 39.40, and today you are at 75. Per dollar. So if you see, there have been so much of value destruction which has happened. So even if you convert the price which you see right now is at least 30-40% cheaper than what it should have been if you convert USD into INR. There is one very interesting thing which is also happening on the metal space is there have been demand which is likely to come from sectors which was never thought of 10 years back. The kind of emphasis which you see on the clean energy side, on the solar side, your shift from a non-renewable energy to a renewable energy, the whole global attraction towards electric vehicles. So these are the sectors, even the semiconductor for that matter, that will drive metal prices away from your typical demand supply, which generally happens when your industrial demand goes up. So that's again going to add to it. And third, another important thing is whenever there is a demand for metals, there is always a supply lag, and by the time the supply scenario gets ready, it's almost 3-4 years, where the demand and supply mismatch gets minimized. So that much of time is too much for the kind of jump which you can expect. So the companies in Indian context are definitely underpriced, but I would not buy in every stock in the metal space, because what is very important is you also need to be, you need to check where on the value chain your company stands, whether you are, how efficiently you are integrated vertically. If you have mine, if you are able to process it at a much cost of efficient manner, and if you are able to meet the demand which is coming up, your margins are going to be phenomenal. But there are certain companies which are riding on this phenomena, but I won't buy each one of them, but there are definitely 4-5 companies.
So which one would you buy, Jay?
I'm bullish on National Aluminium. You know, they have got a fantastic value chain. You know, the company have their own mines. They are one of the low cost producers of aluminium. So when there is a demand high which goes up, you know, it will be very difficult for them to match, you know, the kind of demand which is expected. Even Hindalco, for that matter, I am very bullish on, because they have got the international presence, as well as you know, on the vertical integration side, they are very well placed.
Mr. Fidai, what do you like in the small cap and the mid cap space? Any stocks that you would recommend?
Yeah, basically, I would be looking at, well, not many people are looking at this space, capital goods. And these are not small cap, but at least they are, I would say safe stocks. They are both MNCs, Siemens and ABB. You can buy that stock, and I would say right now they have both given bullish breakouts on the upside, right, on the long-term charts. And any correction would be an opportunity to buy the stocks. So basically, and I would not like to suggest any levels at the moment, because see, we are at such a level that I would say you should accumulate and have an idea of, maybe I want to accumulate this stock in next 3 to 6 months. So if you do that, probably you'll get, and if you do pyramiding, right? So pyramiding is a concept which I have been professing for a long time, since last 14, 15 years, right? Basically, you buy small quantity at high price. Right now, they are high price, right? And then more the price goes down, you keep on adding a double of that, right? So you start with very small, and then, your base would be much higher at the lower price, right? So that would help you have a better average compared to the normal, what do you call, if you do normal averaging. Like, let's say you buy 100 shares every week or every month, then you would have an average which is like, very normal average. But in pyramiding, you get somewhere in your average price will be near to the lower end. So that is the best part. So moment a little jump happens, you are in profits, and then you can ride the whole run up easily. So I would suggest ABB and Siemens in that space, and one dark horse, basically from pharma space, looks very underpriced, because it's a company that has seen a turnaround. And mostly, this is very micro space at the moment, will be 700 crore market capex approximately. It's Venus Remedies. People can buy that. It's shown a fantastic turnaround, had a profit of 60 crore plus. It has 3 plants, basically, from my channel check and what I know from my, people who understand those space. They say that this company of this size should be valued at least 3 times the current market cap approximately. So it is the highly undervalued stock at this moment. I would say it's available at almost 33% of the fair value. So the space on the upside is quite high. So this would be my bets basically.
Okay. Jay, what is your view on the corporate life cycle? I mean, now the forthcoming years belong to the new generation companies, which are, as we see in the IPO market, they are commanding so much of premium over the companies which are already listed. So what is your view on the corporate life cycle changes that we are witnessing?
That's a very interesting question. See, when you see a company's life cycle, you need to just try to understand it from, a human life cycle. So there are companies which are at a very young stage, there are companies which are mature, and there are companies which are declining. What we are seeing is, there have been certain companies which have been there for decades now, and so the company has gone through, certain corporate life cycles. So there are certain companies which are mature now, or they're in a declining state. So what is very important for these companies to understand is that they need to, re-energize themselves. The whole culture within the company, the management, everything has to change. The company, when started 30 years back, the guy who was a CEO cannot be a CEO, the efficient CEO at the current levels, right? So we have seen companies in the, in our banking and FMCG space who are almost at reaching a maturity stage, but they are trying to just do a facelift of it, by trying to say that we are more technology driven company, but the DNA of the company is not technology driven. So the culture within the company has not changed, right? So that's very important if you really want to survive and grow from here on, for the next 10-20 years. What you have done in the past, that is already, that has been a glorious year for you, but going forward the things have to change. But there are certain companies who are very agile, nimble, who are able to adapt to the newer technology which is required. So those companies, I think, should be looked at. Those companies are going to give you value returns, but there are certain FMCG, certain banking stocks which still think that they can beat the new age companies by their old model. So they need to relook to their strategy.
Mr. Fajai, the sector that you like the most right now?
Basically, I like, as I told you, means my at this moment, if you say, then I would put my money on IT. And if you are looking at long term, then maybe metals, right? And cement, because I believe there is a huge growth potential that the government has outlined for India, right? The way the infrastructure development, whatever we are hearing, right? So all those things are going to play out big time, and cement and metals both look very hot on a long term chart. So those would be my sectors basically, and at the moment I would say stick to IT. That is safer bet, and should give you at least 10-12% returns, so minimum in extreme short term.
Jay, 5 sectors that you see creating value for the investors in next 4 to 5 years.
See, first one I would go with metals. There's a lot of upside I feel is there. Second would be specialty chemicals, the chemical companies which are doing a value add, not the general commodity chemicals companies. Third, I would see FMCG companies which have evolved, where from a producer to the end user, the intermediation process has been driven by technology. They have leveraged technology. They have made their they have made themselves cost efficient. Those FMCG companies, I think, will do well. And also the companies which have moved to the the new age kind of model, like if you name on that side, Zomato, I think, is only available on the listed space. Apart from that, angel broking looks good to me, on the new age business side. The sectors I would say to avoid at this moment is, banking, for the timing, especially, the bankings which have given, tremendous run up, few names in the private bank sector, and also the PSUs.
Mr. Fajai, your advice for the first timers who enter the markets?
Well, I would say, basically, there is no entry barrier to market. Anybody can come and start, investing, trading in market. So, my suggestion would be, right now on the panel also, if you see there is a person who knows fundamentals, right? His fundamentals are fantastic, and somebody who knows technicals like me, right? So basically, there are 2 ways to go about investing in market or trading in market. One is to know the valuation of the company, understand how the what is the potential for the company in the future and all that. And second is to understand the technicals, the price points, right? So I would suggest to newbies and people who are just trying to start their journey in market, study. You go to college and then you get a job, right? So in markets also, if you don't study, if you just jump, because then currently markets have paid off everybody in some form or the other. People have made fantastic returns on whatever they have invested, right? But this is one-off case. It will not sustain for long, and you can even call it as beginner's luck also. But if you learn and if you get into the market, you are much safer. Otherwise, you pay the fees to the market. So best thing to do is learn something that interests you, maybe technicals, maybe fundamentals, maybe options, whatever you get interested, and maybe learn it through whatever. There are so many resources at the moment. YouTube is fantastic resources. There are books available. There are so many reports that come out from broking houses, Like ICICI Direct comes out with fantastic reports. There's investment coverage of various companies and sectors that you do. So if people read that, they will learn a lot, right? If you read about a particular subject continuously, and if you're passionate, you will 100% do well, and you will put time. But I would say, like, when you learn and get into the market, it is better and safer. The journey will be much easier and longer, I would say, because it is more important to survive in market. A wrong move, a wrong stock can literally destroy your portfolio. So there are so many things to learn, like risk management, money management. All those things are very important. Like I usually say, the only guru mantra to survive in market or to succeed in market is to know risk and money management. If you don't know anything, at least know your risk and money management. If you can do that, there is nothing that stops you like from earning money in this market.
Jeff, what is your investment mantra, and what will your advice be to the newcomers?
See, in last 1.5 years, we have seen around one to more than 12 million new investors who have joined the race. So that's an unprecedented for Indian capital markets. So these newcomers who have come, so they haven't seen any kind of volatility. Right? The market has been one way for last 15 months. So for them, it's very important to understand that market is not a place where you need to be complacent. You will see downturns, so you should be prepared for it. It's not a one-way ride, and also market is not a 200-meter sprint, right? It's a marathon, so you need to get better with time and the distance you cover. So my advice would be don't get carried away at this moment, because not everything you buy has to go up. There are certain tailwinds which may not be available 6 months down the line, so you need to have some kind of study in place, some kind of research in place. If you can't do it, there are various avenues available for you to learn about markets, about stocks. So that's one. Second is there has to be a discipline. Now I don't know the demographics at this point. That 12 million accounts which have come, they belong to which age group. If you are below 35 years of age, I think you should have more exposure towards equities, because you have 10-15 years of learning curve ahead of you, and identifying good stocks, going through a SIP route in stocks. I would say you select few companies and you buy every month, irrespective of the fact that market corrects or it goes up. Second is, if you are above 45 years of age and you have entered market for the first time, I think it's time for you to be cautious, because when you get carried away and when the market corrects, you get wiped out. So start allocating your portfolio. Don't be very aggressive only on equity as a sector. You have debt, you have certain mutual funds which can give you some kind of protection. So those things are very important to look at.
Thank you, Mr. Fadai. Thank you, Jay, for your time. It was a pleasure speaking with both of you.
Pleasure.
It's always a pleasure to be on the shows and speak about what you know and share your knowledge. So thank you, Gitu, for the opportunity.